Yeah,
that's what the best.
Hi everyone. I think I've spoken to most of you, but I said the first kind of 5 minutes is as live, and then speaking to a majority of you, there'll be an embargo for the main kind of portion of the chat. And I think we're looking at 11 p.m. after speaking to a few of you. If that works, if that doesn't, you can chat to me. He's saying no. And then the back end is going to be for Sundays, so that the Sundays can know what everyone's been talking about. But
so a 6 o'clock embargo for this evening, is that what suits everyone best? Yeah. Or not, I don't know. I saw a lot of sixes being said. So
there's a lot of sixes, and then the Irish press were talking about 11 p.m. Okay, perfect, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't plan to use it very much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Hope you're all having a lovely, lovely morning. We have Owen Farrell, England captain, and England head coach Steve Borthwick. So I'll pass over to you guys. Who'd like to go first, please? We'll come to you. Thanks.
Hi, Steve. A couple of injury updates throughout this morning. Courtney Laws, Jordan Wood. Can you just update us on the prognosis for those two guys?
Yes, so both players are undergoing scans today, and we've seen specialists with the results of the scans as soon as possible after that, and then we'll have a full understanding of the extent of their injuries and then their plans thereafter.
Is that both them out of that Scotland?
Not necessarily, and that's, we don't know. Both are out effectively training this week. That's definite now. It doesn't necessarily mean next week now. Clearly, neither injury looked good. But what I'd rather do is ensure you have the full information, and then we make a plan. That's always the best way with players. Get the information, get the facts, and then we'll make a plan.
Jamie yesterday went off with a concussion. What's the state of
Yep. So Jamie is then follows the return to play protocols, which are laid out, and then that follows. You have a daily plan, and then you have daily assessments, and the plan follows what the assessments show and follows whether the symptoms, etc. Jamie was good after the game, and so now follows that return to play protocol.
Is that 12 days?
It can be. Again, every player follows, because you've got to assess this, the understanding what they are with the symptoms or non-symptoms and how everybody recovers. It's a graduated return to play. It's laid out, and I think certainly that protocol has been in place for a period of time now, which we'll follow.
Last two, daily at hamstring.
Yeah, again, will be assessed today, and I think that, and I said this before, I absolutely understand. We've got to discuss this, the players as they come into camp, and certainly in this role, you watch the games and you wait for the medical reports that then follow as to whether players are available. The squad will assemble this evening for the first time. We will train on the grass tomorrow for the first time. And as we discussed last week, I've been asked a lot of questions today about time. How little time, how you've only been in the job a few weeks, and how little time you have to prepare. I've been asked questions about injuries, and they're all genuinely good questions. I want to say here, as a coach, what I'm going to do is say there are players that are going to be missing. I think that is clear. What we're going to do is, I've got a fantastic squad to coach, and I've got a fantastic squad led by an incredible captain who are desperate to get on that field and start making sure we put in performances that our team is proud of and our supporters can be proud of.
Steve, just with Jamie in particular, do you have a view in mind of like a cut-off point? Say he is available maybe Thursday week. Would you have wanted the player to be involved, at the start of the week, or just to know what your view is?
Yep.
When is availability?
So. Would I want players training every session? Yeah, I would. The reality is that's never the case. Every player needs to be managed on an individual basis, and then that becomes the judgment call that I then make further down the track. Now we sit here now. The game against Scotland is a week on Saturday, and so there's plenty of water to go into the bridge between now and then. There's plenty of water to go into the bridge between now and when I name that team. We've got a good squad assembling later on today. We've got players that are desperate for the opportunity. And whenever there's a knock, whenever there's a setback, it opens up an opportunity for somebody else. And some people, you see people grab those opportunities with both hands and they don't let go. Now, we've got a squad where we've got good players that weren't selected in the squad that I announced last week. And that's the way it should be, where you've got people competing for places. And that's what I'm sensing is there now. We've got to build it. It's got to be more. We've got to build greater depth. But these opportunities, the kind of things that allow players to show they can be test players.
So first Six Nations as head coach, Steve, what are you expecting from the weeks ahead?
Well, I think the one, as you come in here today, I'm sure you sensed it as well, and is the excitement, the buzz around the room. As we were next door doing the interviews, the incredible excitement. Now, we were talking about it. You know, I grew up as a young boy, like watching the Five Nations, and Owen can't remember that. It's always been Six Nations, so he made me feel very old. We talked about it. This is an incredible tournament that we've been privileged to be part of for many years. Owen as a player, I had the privilege of playing this tournament as a player, then coach it as an assistant coach, and now coach it as a head coach. What a privilege it is, and I'm sure Owen feels exactly the same, excited, determined to get on the field and get started.
Yeah, no, I think around the tournament is as Steve said, it's hugely exciting to get going. I think in terms of how big the tournament is and how in the build-up it feels as closely contested as it ever has at the minute. But yeah, I obviously grew up in Wigan, so I had a bit of a different background. So I think I clocked on a bit later to the Six Nations, so not as much the Five Nations. But I've always had a sense for how big the tournament was, but it was probably only when I made my debut up in Murrayfield that I really got a sense for how big it did actually feel, and get to feel the emotion that goes into it and how much passion there is and how well it's supported. Every stadium seems to be packed out every single game, and to be able to be a part in that, and to be able to be a part of what we feel is a massively talented group that's meeting up later tonight is unbelievably exciting. And to touch on the captaincy side of things, yeah, I'm unbelievably proud to be captain of this nation and this group of players that's got a lot of experience and a lot of leadership in it as well. That we'll be leaning on to make sure that we are prepared for that first game against Scotland.
How much is it touching you? Does it feel with the new coaching setup?
It obviously feels like a new start. But as I said, we're sitting here now, looking forward to getting together for the first time tonight. But we're hugely excited about getting together, getting out on the field, training, and getting on the same page so that we can put all our excitement and all our effort into that first game against Scotland.
Owen, sorry, have you been on your tackle course yet, and what was that like?
Yes, I have been on it. I think what it does do is you look at what you could do better from the situations that's put you in it in the first place, and I've obviously had time to step back and have a look at that and learn from that. And I think in terms of where the game's going and trying to make the game safer and making sure that it's played in the correct way and a good example for everybody. I think the games and the RFU are trying to make sure that it's going in the right direction, and we as a team, as an England team, want to make sure that we're at the forefront of that. We want to make sure that we're preparing in a way that we can play as hard as we possibly can and make sure as fair and as safe as we possibly can as well. And obviously I want to play a big part in that.
What's the biggest thing you learned from going on the course, would you say?
Yeah, I think what I just said is that it gives you a little bit of time, a little bit of a step back, obviously with no game at the weekend, to have a look and look at it in good detail. And obviously the main point of what I've just said is is us as a team making sure that we're at the forefront of it, and we're making sure that we're trying to play the game as hard and as safe and fair as we can do.
If I can build on that as well, just to back up everything Owen said there's more that intervention course run by World Rugby is the initiative. Over 100 players have been through that course now, and I think firstly in terms of a plan and the way globally we're trying to address to make this game, keep the physical intensity of this game and ensure it's a safe sport for generations to come. I think that's it's great that we are trying to do that. I think secondly with that, some of the tutorials that are used for that course were led by Kevin Sinfield, shown by Kevin Sinfield, who's going to be coaching our defence. So I think you see now with the England rugby team, what we're trying to do is we want to, just as Owen said, we want to fight, we want to play physically, we want to be fair.
Steve, just on Jamie, obviously he's so experienced. That experience is, I assume, would be crucial to his ability to be available at short notice if that becomes the case. Does that kind of alter? Does that come into consideration when you do get closer to that selection?
I think all those factors come into consideration. I think what also comes into consideration is that I'm going to see other players. There's always a limited number of players. With the way the system is in England, there's a limited number of players that get the opportunity to work with close up for a short period of time. So now, I know Jamie pretty well. I know how desperate Jamie is to be in the England shirt and play for England. From my point of view, I get to see some more players. I get to see some Jack Walker. I get to see Tom Dunn, players that are going to give everything they possibly can to try and get into an England 23.
And Tom's a very abrasive guy, isn't he? Tom's always been very sort of physical and effectively out there.
So it's interesting. Tom Dunn coaches at Chippenham Minis, which is where my two boys play. So I usually pop over and watch Tom Dunn. I think he's in the under 8s, and I see them mauling and scrummaging and attacking. He's going to be a physical under 8s team, I think. Tom's wonderful. I've known him for a few years, and he was even. Saw him a week or so ago at the Chippenham Minis. He's a great character, and he's desperate to get into this England squad, and as all the players are. A sense of hunger from the England players, a sense of hunger for them to get back out and put some things right. Make sure we put in some performances that we can be proud of. We've got work to do. That's very clear. This team's got work to do. When we get together as a team tonight, we're going to start that work.
Any more questions?
We've got like 10 minutes left, so...
Are we into the daily section? Are we past what section are we in? I'm lost.
Let's call it the Sunday section now.
Oh, really? Fair for that.
Joking, don't worry.
Yeah. If you want some embargoed stuff for later on this evening, we can do that now. Yeah.
Sorry.